Hello and welcome to Richard's Home Mechanics, and this week's vlog is about the HGV driver shortage crisis in the UK. Now once you've watched this video, I want you to seriously consider, would you or a family member of yours become an HGV driver today? I'd like to know the answer. I think I know what the answer would be. Right, I'm going to go through some things here that HGV drivers have to put up with daily. So we're going to start with, why is there a shortage of drivers? It's simple. The money is crap and the hours are long. There's no other explanation for it. It's rubbish. Long hours, 12, 15-hour days are not unheard of. You know, even today, we shouldn't be driving that. You've got, you know, a wagon 44 ton, loaded, you can do some serious damage. We should not be allowed to do a duty of 15 hours a day. It's absolute rubbish. So we need to cut that down to start with. I started driving when I was 26 and I'm now 54, and I've jumped on and off of wagon driving over the years. I've driven tippers, fuel containers, chemicals, tilts, you name it. Being an HGV driver, you was expected to drive it and drive it safely and confidently. You know, that was part and part of the parcel. Back then in the 1980s, early 90s, HGV drivers were really respected. You know, if you was an international driver and you drove over the water, I've done a little bit of that myself, you was respected. Unfortunately, that's gone out the window. Right, back to the shortage of HGV drivers. Employers put it in their wisdom and thought, you know what, we can make a bit more money here. Let's keep the drivers' salaries low and flog them to death. And I mean, drivers were flogged to death. They worked the hours, too many hours. So what happened? Employers dropped the wages and people started leaving. I did it myself. I was in my early 30s. And I could make more money working in a warehouse doing an 8 till 6 than I could sitting behind a steering wheel doing a 14-hour day. So people like me jumped out, and a lot of people copied me and did the same. So employers thought, an agency thought, what we're going to do? We've got no drivers. We've got all these lorries and vans and everything here. What we're going to do? I know. We'll employ Polish drivers. Now, I've got no problem with Polish drivers coming over here. They could come over here and earn a little bit more than what they did at home, and you can't really blame them. You know, I think if we were in the same position, we would do the same. So the firms started employing drivers, and for a little while, all was hunky-dory. But the Polish drivers were paid a lower rate than what the English drivers were done, what I think is wrong. If someone is doing the same job as me, they should be paid the same. So eventually the Polish got wise to this and thought, you know what, we're not having this. Our economy, I'm 30% at this particular time better off going home. So they've started going home. So what's happened is the Polish went home. So that left a large void, and we were back to square one with no drivers. So what happened? This left an opening for the Romanians to come in. And that's what they done. So the Romanians jumped into the lorries. Unfortunately, were earning less than what the UK counterpart drivers were earning, which was unfair. And after a while, they also got fed up with it, the long hours conditions, and now they've decided to go home. And you can't blame them, you know. Their economy, they're better off 30% now. You can't blame them. Why are you going to work in this country and do the hours? So now we're back to square one again. We've still got a shortage of drivers. Another issue which caused drivers would they introduced the stupid CPC, Certificate of Professional Competence. Absolute rubbish. Well, I can't explain it. Now, I've been driving for all them years without having to do a CPC. Now, if I don't know the driving rules now, then I never will. There's something seriously wrong here. The government said, let's introduce a CPC, make a drivers professional. The Europeans across the water said, we ain't doing it, and they didn't first of all, but the good old UK said, yeah, let's do it. But the driver has got to pay, at the time, I think it was £80 to £100. You've got to do 40 hours training to even get your CPC, you've got to sit in a classroom and watch videos. The stupid part is that you had bits about roping, health and safety, tachos or digital cards now. There's loads of different modules. Well, when I last sat mine, I sat the same module 3 times. So for 3 days, I sat the same subject on digital tachos and driving hours, etc, etc. And then the last 2, the last 2 or 3, 3 days, sorry, I did an ADR course. Now, does that make a mockery of it? I've learnt nothing, and and it's absolute rubbish. So why can't we scrap that CPC? It's an absolute waste of money. It's costing the drivers money. Quite often, driver has to pay for itself. Well, we need to scrap that. We need to get rid of that. And there is feedback coming through the community at the moment that they're possibly going to do that. That will be a damn good thing if they do that. Right. I've got the greatest respect for a route planner or a transport manager who's actually done the job, who's actually driven a lorry and been in London and taken 4 hours to get from one side to the other. Yeah, I've got no problem with that. But they introduced computers, and behind that computer they introduced an 18-year-old fresh out of college who doesn't even drive. And the question is, well, why can't you do it? It's on the same page on the computer. Well, I'm talking about the old A to Zs, London A to Zs, Birmingham A to Zs. All us drivers had them. We all had them in a cardboard box, tucked under the seat. Didn't have a clue. The computer routing was an absolute waste of bleeding time. It didn't allow for being held up, driving time, absolute crap. So, we need to go back to proper routing and using proper transport managers who know what they're doing. Driving is, believe it or not, in the top 4 most dangerous jobs in the UK. Can you believe it? Driving a lorry. Especially at night, in twilight hours, you're more likely to have an accident than any other time. So, my God, crazy, isn't it? In the top 4. Agencies. Well, I'm not here to slug agencies down. That is not the idea of the video. The idea is to portray how agencies roughly work. There are good agencies and there are very crap agencies. I've worked for both. Some agencies have been really, really good. Some agencies have been absolute rubbish. They are there to make money at the end of the day. For every hour you work, they're making money on you. So remember that. When you're doing overtime, the agency are making a lot of money out of you. You are not getting it personally in your pocket. Right, loading and restraining. Quite often now, especially if you are an Arctic driver, you will pick up a trailer that has been loaded when you have not been there to check it. Now, you are solely under them. If they decide to load that overweight and you don't take it to a weighbridge, and to be honest, at 4 o'clock in the morning, are you going to drive to a public weighbridge? No, you're not. You are at their discretion. So if they've overweighed you and the ticket says, yeah, you're all good to go, mate, you get pulled, it's down to you. Let's run through a few pointers of what would happen if this happened to you. Right, at this particular moment, if you are every 1,000 kilos that you are over on your HGV, whether it's a rigid or a Arctic trailer, is £1,000, right? The law states now, whether you are in a van or in an HGV, you must restrain every single pallet. So let's put it into pretense. If your boss says to you, come on, Richard, I need this load down here, mate. You're only going down the road. It's only 10 miles. Don't worry about strapping it, mate. You know, they ain't going to get the old scenario. It's not going to go anywhere. That's what they say to you. It's not going anywhere. Just get going, mate. You know, I need you back here for another run. If you drive down the road and you haven't strapped it, and the DVSA, which used to be, I call them the plastic Voser, used to be the Voser, decide to give you a tug and pull you over, If you have got 26 pallets on there, unstrapped, unsecured, and you're 2 ton overweight, you're looking at 4,600 fine, which you've got to pay, not the employer, and court costs. So think about it next time. Next time your governor says to you, yeah, just run down there, mate, don't worry about strapping it. It's you who's going to pay the fine, not them. Think about it. Staying away from home. HGV drivers are limited to driving hours. Now, I won't go into all that because it's just a minefield. With the working time directive, forget it. You know, what were they playing at when they introduced that? Bunch of, I don't know, stupid people. Staying away from home. I'm a bit out of this now. I know when I was driving, I was getting £25 a night. It might be a bit more, I don't know. But say £25 to £30 a night. I was expected to find a secure parking area, i.e. a services, and eat for that. Will you tell me where I can park up for 25 quid, have a decent meal with a dessert and parking in a secure area? Ain't going to happen. It doesn't happen. That's not going to pay by for a meal. So at the end of the day, that 25 quid, if you do go on the services, you know, it's gone. So you're staying away from home for nothing. Now, if your present employer spoke to you now and you're not an HGV driver, said, "Oh, Richard, I want you to work there, but can you stay in the hotel tonight and look after these suitcases for me? But I ain't going to pay you nothing." I'd say, on your bike, mate, I ain't doing it. You pay me. Now, HGV driver, now I've been in this situation where I was parked up in the city of Liverpool. I had run out of driving time. I had to pull up in the car parking area in Liverpool. I'd pulled my card out, ministry come, the old bill come up to me, the police come up to me and said, "Mate, you've got to park, you've got to move, you can't park here, you know, it's a dangerous area," right? Now, I've got to, obviously the police allow you to do that. At the time, I had paper taco, so he signed it, the policeman signed it, so if I got pulled over by the then VOSA, I could explain why I'd moved when I should have been on a rest period. But I don't get paid. I had to drive half an hour up the road. I don't get paid. So it's pants. Sleeping in a, I don't know, 8 foot by 6 foot tin every night is absolute pants. Many lorries don't have air conditioning. It's absolute crap. This is a real subject that really annoys me, and it will annoy many drivers. You've been driving for a couple of hours, 2 or 3 hours. You put your card in. You drive 2 or 3 hours. You get to your first drop. Now, on the way there, you've had 2 cups of coffee. You're sitting on the dash, you know what I mean? You're dying for a wee, so you pull up. Yeah, I've got a delivery for you, mate. Have you got any toilets? No toilets for the drivers. What the hell is all that about? No toilets for the drivers. Am I a bleeding alien or something? What are they talking about? Gets on my nerves. Or they point you to a toilet and you wouldn't take your bleeding dog in there. Do you know what I mean? They need to sort this out. They need to make clean facilities for drivers. It is absolute rubbish. Driver's age. Now, this is a good one. Next time you're driving about in your car or even walking about, have a look at the HGV driver, give him a thumbs up, and I'll bet you he's not under 40. There is no young drivers coming into this trade. And do you blame them? What would you rather do? Do 9 to 5 in an aircon office? Not have police and VOSA chasing your arse all the time, watching over your shoulder? Am I going to get pulled? Is my digital taco? Have I gone over me hours? Or sit in an office? I know what I'd probably choose now. Some agencies are being paid to try and encourage drivers back into the industry. Even me. Because I go on like certain sites, Facebook and all that, like I've inquired about things. If you click on there, they're straight on you. Some agency even offered me, I think it was a couple £100, a bit more, a starting fee. And I said to them, "Look, mate," I said, "I am interested, possibly, but I haven't got a CPC. It's run out and my ADRs are run out, and I'm not willing to pay out, you know, like X amount. My ADR was £900 on its own. Don't worry, we'll pay for you if you stay with us for 6 months. That's desperate. That shows how desperate we need drivers in this country, doesn't it? They actually pay for me to be retrained. That's pants, that is. Right, so I've gone through a few pointers. I've not gone through all of them, but there's a load more. But as you can see, you can roughly see the conditions that an HGV driver has to work under and the reason why we've got a shortage. At the start of my video, I said, would you or a member of your family be an HGV driver? Thank you for watching my video. Please watch my weekly vlogs on Richard's Home Mechanics and my mechanical on a Saturday, weather permitting. Take care, and we'll see you on the next vlog or issue of Richard's Home Mechanics. Goodbye.